Hello everyone, this is Introvert Shy Guy and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Okay, so where we left off, we just had a nice walk with Lilly, or we went to the convenience store. I thought we might hold her hand, but we didn't, but I wish. And we also met Rin, which was pretty funny, and so yeah, and then now just move on to the next section. And also I'd like to say that as I'm doing this, the internet is back online, so I'm really happy about that, and obviously things are now normal and stuff, so that's good. Anyway, today is March the 20th, so yeah, I guess let's continue. Okay. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Matao lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. Yeah, I know. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. That's kind of interesting. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Mutao approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Mutao stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say, not knowing what is going on. I wait silently. Oh, what is this? So tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Mutao to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things, you've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Mutao's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Excuse me. Do you follow me? I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Matao taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Mutao's serious talk is over and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Excuse me. Sure, you're the boss, right? Mutao pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Oh, of course. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Mutao does not even notice them. Oh, okay. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Mutao and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink. Excuse me, as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stand behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lilly. It's weird that Lilly comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lilly. Wow. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lilly leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her though. Her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lilly leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, that's right. I think Lilly mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon make me yearn to get out of school or at least do something other than sit here. Giving in to one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any day other than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person. Really, I guess I'll catch up with him later. Yeah, he's not wrong on that one. Changing tacks, I briefly entertain the idea of talking with Hanako, but by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. There's got to be something to do that can kill the time. Oh, I see. So this is probably might go for a little, like, decision making, I would say. If I were to go to the library, maybe then this will lead up for something about Hanako. Or maybe even Lilly, but then again, honestly, I want to go for a walk into town. That's what I want to do. So yeah, let's do this. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. There was a reason she left the classroom after all. Maybe I should have. I was thinking if I should have saved. Nah, I don't think so. This isn't that long from where I saved last time, so it's kind of unnecessary, I would say. So yeah, everything's good. There's a reason she left the classroom after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lilly. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me despite her other obviously taxing duties. Oh great, I get to hang out with Lilly. That's super nice. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find Lilly. The exercise will do me some good as well. I picked the right choice, didn't I? Walking through the school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates, the gesture being returned in kind. Did I say guess? Is it pronounced gesture or gesture? I don't know if it's a hard G or silent G. I think it's gesture. Yeah, not gesture. Yeah, gesture. Even from here, the shouts of the sports club members can be heard. From the sheer volume of the din, the track must be packed right now. I remember what Lilly said yesterday about being dropped right into the middle of a busy time for the school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on study that I've missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated, at least not yet. Well, I guess not everything's bad. This is a private school, and that much is easily noticed when walking around outside. Not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate, and quite divorced from the dime-a-dozen concrete blocks of public schools. There's also the fact that there's a much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their little clique and be done with it. Eventually, I reach the gate and begin to walk down the road into town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decide to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in the city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strikes me as incredibly unusual. All that's to be seen are the odd, elderly person shuffling along the sidewalk and assorted, busily chatting pairs of middle-aged women outside of small storefronts. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, though making me realize that I perhaps pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on the prospect of soldiering on. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. Yeah, that sucks. When you have a weak heart like that, you're very limited to what you can do, even just walking around. Yeah, I kind of feel for the guy. The stay in hospital, the surgery and the medications must be taking their toll on me. Damn it. Eventually, my breathing returns to normal and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn, whatever that is, though in any case. There's a cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. Ooh, I hope they have great coffee. A little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. Or actually tea, as a matter of fact. I mean, this is Japan, so, you know. But it's like, as for me, sometimes I would go to a Starbucks and, like, just get an iced caramel latte, you know? For a few moments, I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and again drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service bell. Eventually, a door. Is that the same? That's the librarian. So she also works at a coffee shop or a tea shop. I don't know. A cafe. It's just called a cafe. Fuck. Eventually, a door some ways behind the counter opens. A person emerging from it, taking me by a complete surprise. Yuko? Hi, I had no idea you worked here. I really have no idea how to address her either, given that she is technically school staff as well as apparently a waitress. Yes, She quickly paces up to the counter before flinging her upper half downwards in an overreacted bow. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? Straight down to business, I see. I don't know. Well, some coffee, please. Yeah, that's my man. Yes, certainly. I'll make it right away and bring it to you when it's done. Thanks. Yuko's formality takes me aback. She seems to take her job very seriously. Obeying her instructions, I turn around and quickly glance around for a free table. Considering the cafe seems to be empty, this is a simple task to accomplish. As I walk towards a table adjacent to the window, I notice a flash of yellow around one of the table dividers. Oh, it's Lilly, and whoever this guy is. Sure enough, no more than a glance is needed to ascertain that it's a certain it's a certain Satao at the table. That said, I don't recognize a suited figure across the table from her. Blonde, fair-skinned, and only a little shorter. I think she must be a relative. Since the two are all but silent as the suited figure takes a swig from a cup of coffee, I decide to greet Lilly. Some part of my coming here was in order to meet her, after all. Hi, Lilly. Hisayo? Yeah, nice to see you again. The suited girl looks up, noticing my uniform with a relaxed smile. Know each other? I guess. It's as good as an approximation of our relationship as I can think of. Care to take a seat? She says this to the air beside me, but the message is clear enough and I take a seat beside her. I suppose some introductions might be in order. Hisayo, this is Akira Satao, my older sister. Akira, this is Hisayo Nakai, another Yamaku student. Looks like my guess was correct. The newly introduced Akira gives a nod, which I return. What I don't return, however, is the almost analytical gaze with which she looks me over. As she does so, Yuko walks up to the table and carefully places the coffee on the table before bowing and taking her leave. Gently bringing my hand to the side of the cup, I realize that it's already at just the right temperature to drink. After taking a sip, the flavor turns out to be just as good as the temperature. Yuko seems a lot better at this than being a librarian. Yeah, I mean, no shit, she's actually seems like very calm and stuff compared to how she kind of feels very, like, anxiety prone when she's a librarian. Not that it's a bad thing, but you get what I'm saying. I take a good long drink before relaxing into the seat. It takes mere seconds for Akira's examination to come to an end. Apparently becoming quickly bored with the activity, she turns to her sister. So how's school recently? It seems Akira is entirely unconcerned with someone she doesn't know at all, listening to everything they say. Not that I mind. Leaving them to their chatting, I sit back and continue drinking the pleasantly aromatic coffee. Sounds like it's pretty busy for you then. At least I'm not cooking your meals after school anymore. As they talk, I slowly realize that I'm entirely unable to gauge Lily's emotions through her eyes, as I would for any other person. It becomes slightly unsettling as I subconsciously focus on that fact. Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, can blind people, like... I'm pretty sure they can obviously make facial expressions, like, it's an innate, you know, behavior, but of course, like, in terms of obviously eye movements, it's like, you know, very still, I would say? Yeah, something like that. You know, yeah, in terms of eye movements. Because where else are they supposed to look? It's always straight on, you know? And actually, speaking of which, like, obviously, if you look at Avatar The Last Airbender, the character Toph, like, she shows a lot of emotions from her face. So, you know, there's that, so... Whoa, so cold. Weren't you just cooking for yourself anyway? I only ever got leftovers. That's not the point. Are you managing to feed yourself at least? I can cook without blowing myself up, you know? Mostly. That's... Haha, it's fine, it's fine. I needed to learn sometime anyway. Ah, Lilly. Everyone present is momentarily distracted by Yuko, who places a cup of tea on the table for Lilly. Taking the moment to glance at her watch, Akira levers herself off her seat and gives me a quick nod. Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lilly. Akira, do you have to? Lilly looks genuinely mournful at her sister suddenly leaving. It does seem like she might have the wrong idea. Sorry, I need to get back to work. They'll be on my neck again if I don't make it back quickly. So informal, Akira's trim and tidy appearance would give anyone the wrong impression of her. Bye, Akira. Come on, don't look so down. I'll be around again soon. See yas. With that, she waltzed out of the Shanghai with her hand held high. Oh, I guess we now have alone time with her then. Perfect opportunity. Lilly still looks pretty depressed, so I tried to make some small talk in an effort to take her mind off it. She seems nice. We used to live together, but now that I live at school, we hardly ever see each other. Despite Lilly having been quite affable, I still don't really know much about her. In hindsight, it's surprising just how much she's extracted from me, really. You used to live together? Was it somewhere around here? It was pretty far south, so the trip into Yamaku was fairly long. With her working hours getting longer and Yamaku being so far away, there was little choice in the end but to move into the dormitories. Well, that explains the chatter about cooking. Evidently regaining her composure, she livens back up, at least in part. I take it you're better rested now. Sorry. You sound less exhausted than you did when you first came in. To be able to pick out my breathing like that, she must have pretty good ears. Yeah, ended up walking all over town despite only planning on taking a short walk down here. Reminded of my thirst from the walk, I lean forward to take a sip. Without further ado, Lilly starts on her cup of strong-smelling tea. I guess I'd better get going back to Yamaku. There's only so long I can stall studying for, and I want to get a good night's sleep before the festival. Standing from my seat, I take the coffee-stained cup from the table. You're leaving? Yeah, you going to head back as well? It's getting kind of late. For a moment she pauses before lifting her face over her teacup as if she was looking at me. Aw, is she... Oh, okay. Yuko, could we have one more coffee, please? Okay, I'll bring it right away. Oh, she wants to hang out with me. I was gonna say that she's kind of getting upset, like feeling kind of lonely, but it's good that she's at least keeping her head held high, you know? That's not subtle. She gives a short giggle at my frank assessment of her maneuver. It's surprisingly childish and carefree given her otherwise collected appearance. Honestly, just spend some more time with her, really. Like, you know, she's just a joy to have company. I'd literally do the same. I wouldn't give a damn if it's late. Especially if it's, you know, around a girl, you know? In the end, though, I have little reason to refuse. To be honest, I can hardly say no, all things considered. Yeah, fuck that, right? Just get on with this. Giving a manufactured sigh, I take a seat opposite her. Wanting company, then. I'd say that it's more that I was wondering. I see she's in questioning mode again. She does seem to be unusually interested in me, or at least curious. Do you have any siblings? Not exactly an unexpected tangent. No, only child. To be honest, the idea of having someone that close makes me a bit envious. Interesting. Excuse me. I raise an eyebrow, which of course goes unseen. The short silence communicates the question well enough. It's just that others have said the same thing before. It's a difficult subject to try and think about objectively, given that I've always had someone like that. I can mostly understand what Lilly means, given that it would be hard to place oneself outside of a situation they've been in all their life. She and her sister must have a pretty close relationship. Taking pains to interrupt us little as possible, Yuko dutifully comes over and places a cup on the table. Lilly thanks her as I sit back taking in this vexing girl in front of me. Despite always seeming to be on her guard and in control of herself, when talking to others, she has an almost childlike curiosity about other people. That said, those rare moments she seems to slightly lower her guard are the most insightful into how she thinks. Reaching forward for my drink, I realize something I probably should have noticed earlier. I think I'm starting to become kind of curious about her. Despite making a good pace, it's already nightfall by the time I reach the large iron gates in front of the school. While it's nice to have plenty of time to wander around by virtue of living right next to the school, I can't help but get the feeling that very few students actually take the opportunity. Compared to the number of students I see milling around on campus during free time, it's startlingly rare to see anyone around town. Given the large number of accommodations and faculties that the school offers, many of them might simply not see any point in venturing outside, let alone people such as Hanako and Kenji. It makes me wonder if students like Shizune, Misha, and Lilly are the exception for this school, rather than the norm. As I wander back to my dorm room, I continue to compare my old school with Yamaku. As I do so, I begin to be surprised that I managed to get even this used to everything that's happened to me. Oh, is that it? Oh! Wow, that was short. Let me see. It's, trying to remember when I started. It's actually less than an hour, believe it or not. So, yeah, at this rate, I'm probably just gonna keep on going until it's about an hour. Because normally I tend to keep on playing until it gets to the 1 hour point. Then that's when I stop. So because of this, I will basically keep on going. But of course, if I don't know when the next day is gonna happen, then I would just might as well just stop somewhere. Just basically stop somewhere, I would say. So I'll basically do that. All right. The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine since it's a Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low-quality food. Hey, I mean, noodles are actually far better than, like, me eating McDonald's hamburgers, that's for sure. Cheeseburgers, actually, not hamburgers. I don't know why I use hamburgers. I always eat my burgers with cheese, by the way. So, there you go. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There will be a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like.